As you run around adventuring, you'll end up with quite a few things in your inventory. And one thing you'll notice is that there's different colors. So anything that is green is bound to your account. Um, you cannot place this in a trunk because other people might be able to take it if you do that. You can place it as deco, though, around your house, or you can put it in your bank where it won't take up any bank slots. But you can't sell it to an NPC. So if it's something you don't need and you don't want it going in your bank, it won't take up a bank slot, but it's still sitting in there. It might create some clutter, and you don't think you're ever going to use it. You can actually select it, right click, destroy selected items, and if you destroy it, it will be gone forever. Make sure you're only destroying what you want. I don't suggest destroying more than one thing at a time. Typically, um, if you do destroy things one at a time, you'll be able to see exactly what you're destroying, so you don't make any mistakes. Once it's gone, it's gone. Something you can't destroy is something that's written in yellow. These are quest items. They're bound to your account as well. You can't place them as deco. You can't take them out of your inventory. What you can do is go up to your settings, upper right, hit the filters options, and hide quest items if you like. And then you won't see them in your inventory. They won't be taking as much space. Another thing you'll notice is some items filter to the top, and they are underlined. These are kind of text items, readable items. So we have some letters from earlier, and we have a new player handbook with some great information. It's a very good thing to read through. And all these filter to the top to kind of keep them out of the way and have them be a little bit less clutter. You'll notice a lot of times you end up with multiple stacks of stuff. Like here we have a bunch of stacks of arrows. If you right click, you can hit Consolidate Stacks, and it'll drag them all into one stack. That's usually a lot more convenient. Or you could just drag, if you have a case like this where we have two different bundles of feathers, you can pick one up, drag it, and drop it onto the stack. If you want to split up stacks, you can hold Control as you drag and split off one item at a time. Or you can click Shift as you drag and select how many you want to split off at any given time. That's handy for doing trades. You might want to trade 30 of a reagent to somebody because you're out adventuring. They ran out of reagents. You have a couple hundred left. You want to give them some to finish up, so you drag over 30, say. If you have an item that can be placed as deco, if you have your decoration mode enabled, which it is by default, you could drag that from your inventory and place it in your house as deco. If you have a whole stack of those items, it will just drag off one item at a time, whether you've held control or not, because it's assuming you're wanting to deco in it. You're in deco mode. You can go into settings and toggle off deco mode, and that'll prevent that. Or just you can know if you have a stack of chairs, for instance, you want to move them all while you're in your house because you're putting them in a container, for instance. Just hold shift as you drag, and you'll be able to max it out and move all 6 of them, say, over into the container. Otherwise, if you're in deco mode and you're in a place where you have permission to deco, even a stack of deco will move out one at a time. And things like arrows count as deco. So as you have a trunk full of 100 arrows, 1,000 arrows, you want to drag them all into your inventory. If you're in your house and you're able to place them as deco, they'll drag one at a time unless you hit shift and pull over the whole stack. Say you want to get the whole stack over there. Another thing you can do is lock items to your inventory. So if you right click, this wolf head trophy I'm quite proud of from our quest earlier, I don't want that to go anywhere before I get to my house to display it. So locked items, it says, cannot be removed from your inventory, traded, sold, consumed, salvaged, or used in crafting. This is useful for protecting valuable items from accidental destruction. Locked items can be ransomed by other players via PvP combat or theft. That last line isn't correct. There is currently no ransom anywhere in New Britannia and no means of theft anywhere in New Britannia for stealing items off your character. So that would be true if those systems were in place, but currently there's an amnesty all across the lands and those systems are not in place. And so we'll click to lock it. You see it goes to the top of our inventory. It has a little padlock next to it, and it goes green, just like the items that are bound to our account are green. This is green too, indicating again that you can't put it in a container. You can't even drag it off as deco. You can't salvage it. You can't sell it to an NPC. It's locked to your inventory, so it gets its kind of honorary green status that way. If we had a bunch of items locked, let's say we wanted to lock all of these because we're going to be carrying them around, but we didn't want to have to have them taking up room in our inventory, like the snow trade deed, lock that to our inventory. They're kind of cluttering stuff up. We don't want to have to scroll down to see all this stuff all the time. So we can also hide those. Click on the filter, hide locked items. Now they're gone too. If in your inventory you use this sorting options tab, you'll be able to look at your locked items. There you will see them, whether they're hidden in your general inventory or not. If you go to this locked items tab, you'll always be able to see them. So you don't have to unlock them to look at them. You can just click there. You can also sort by different types of material. So this is material. For instance, this is generally things used in crafting. You can see just those items. You can see just your quest items. Again, we have these hidden in our normal inventory, but by going to this area here, we see the actual quest items without unhiding them. Recently looted can be interesting. As you're running around adventuring, you might be able to want to see all the things you get without having to inspect each individual loot window. You're in the midst of combat, you're looting really quickly. You come here and see, and you could hit reset recent loot, and that'll reset it. And as you kill more things, it'll start filling up again. You're recently looted. And a number of other options as well. Reagents can be a very handy one. Before you go out adventuring, look, see if you have all the reagents. There's also different values associated with these items. Some items never stack. Stuff like gear never stacks because two pieces of gear have always unique durability stats. They may look the same. They might be two items that are, 35 out of 50 durability with a max of 115. But because the game is keeping track of their durability separately, you're not allowed to stack them. Similarly, two items that are identical except for the dye that's been applied to them. Maybe they're dyed different colors. Those items can't stack because they're unique. They have unique stats. So you'll find that situation with items not stacking. Again, particularly gear as you loot gear. Another place it could happen, and in this case, these are both pieces of gear, these triangle shields, but it's happens that some items have no value. So if you, because they're looted from the world, and they normally would have value. So if you run around and steal a carrot, for instance, off of somebody's vendor cart, it's a stolen carrot and it's a black market carrot, and you're not actually allowed to sell it to vendors. They won't buy it from you. So it has zero value. If you have a stack of other carrots that you farmed up honestly yourself, they will have a value on them. They'll be worth 1 gold each, and they'll all stack together. All the carrots you've sold will stack together as well, but those two different stacks, the stack of stolen carrots and the stack of carrots, the honest carrots, the good working man carrots, those won't stack together because they have different values. They're different items. They're a stolen version and a regular version of an item. And we kind of see that happening with these shields. Again, normally 2 shields wouldn't stack anyway, but you can see this one has 0 value because I stole it off the ground. This one has 60 value because it dropped from the mob. As I move through here in the inventory as well, you'll see tooltips pop up that tell us handy things. This metal scrap is a refined material. It tells us the weight, its value. This will tell us the stack weight, stack value. If we look at something a little more complex like a shield, it'll tell us all the stats on that shield. And if we actually hold control, it'll expand that. And if there's some stats that are put on by a player that are consolidated together, it'll show us all those. If we hit these ragged boots +1, if we press control, we'll see without control, they have a 0.3 dodge modifier. If we press control, we see not only that they have the 0.3 dodge modifier, but that that's coming from the yard of leather that's used inside of them. So holding control while mousing over certain pieces of certain inventory items, particularly pieces of gear, could give you some insight and some information into where the stat comes from, give you added information. But sometimes if you're just scrolling through your inventory, sorting, oh, I want to pull this out, oh, I want this, oh, is this a thing, what's this? You see that the tooltip pops up and flashes on and off. If you're just really quickly doing some sorting or scrolling through, that can be kind of annoying. You can actually turn that off. You can see here as I scroll over, that's not popping up anymore because I used the hotkey to toggle it. I can press the hotkey again and it does pop up. If you go to the options menu, go to controls, and scroll all the way down, there's a hotkey towards the bottom. That is listed. Ooh, is it not near the bottom? There's a item listed somewhere here. You can see there are a lot of things you are allowed to modify. Here it is. Toggle inventory tooltip. So about 2/3 of the way down. I have mine bound to comma, which used to be the default. Now when you come in, the default is actually to have this unbound, so it doesn't accidentally get toggled. It was a fairly common thing. It certainly happened to me to hit the comma key by accident and not realize why you didn't have tooltips. It's because you are allowed to toggle them, and it can be super handy if you don't want tooltips flashing and popping up as you're doing certain inventory work or moving stuff around from tests. So if you would ever like to disable them, just come into Options, Controls, about 2/3 of the way down. There's option to toggle inventory tooltips, and you could go ahead and bind that to a key. There's also an option here. We talked about Deco mode. There's an option here to bind Deco mode. Toggle Deco mode. Just above hotkey, I have mine bound to L. L key isn't used by default. In my mind, I could either lock my Deco in place, or I could unlock it to toggle it. So I use L for that hotkey. That could be quite handy too. Obviously for not moving Deco accidentally in your house, but also just toggling it off if you're going to be moving a bunch of stacks of stuff that would want to pull off his Deco. It can be convenient to just toggle the whole thing off and not have to press shift every time to drag stacks away.